Welcome to our channel, where we bring you stories full of emotion and humanity. Today we will explore a tale of wealth casting light on the shadows of greed and cruelty. Our protagonist is Isabella, a young woman living in luxury surrounded by opulence she never has to lift a finger for. But behind that splendor lies a heartbreaking truth. The fortune she inherited came from her father's ruthless actions, a cold and calculating businessman. What will be the fate of those who act with cruelty? Join me as we uncover it now. Isabella, a 25-year-old woman, stands by the large window in her bedroom. Her icy blue eyes, reflecting a heart as cold as her gaze, look out over the carefully manicured garden stretching out before her. She wears a custom-made dress that costs more than most people's annual salary and a limited edition gemstone bracelet on her wrist, a symbol of time, which to her is money. Holding a glass of fine wine, because for Isabella, even wine must reflect her status, she watches her maid, Sophia, diligently working under the harsh sunlight, meticulously trimming each rose bush. Sophia possesses everything Isabella lacks: humility, a strong work ethic, and happiness in her simple life, along with a natural beauty that shines even in plain clothing. This quietly stirs envy and a hint of disdain in Isabella. At 27, Sophia has endured hardship, with every drop of sweat on her lovely face telling the story of a life filled with toil. While observing Sophia, a dark idea sprouted in Isabella's mind. A sinister smile appeared on her face, revealing the cruelty hidden behind the guise of a refined lady. Why not bring this naive country girl to my birthday party, which also doubles as the celebration of my promotion to CEO at Vertex Technologies? She thought, relishing the idea. Sophia, I would love to invite you to my birthday party and CEO inauguration. It will be a very special event, Isabella said with a radiant smile. But hidden behind that friendly facade was a dark scheme. Isabella didn't want it to be just a gathering. She intended for Sophia to become the target of ridicule, a mere joke among the famous attendees. When is it, my lady? Sophia asked, her face lighting up with excitement. Sunday at the Grand Hotel. Not everyone is honored with an invitation from me. You wouldn't decline, would you? Oh yes, of course, I think it would be wonderful, Sophia replied, oblivious to Isabella's plan. Isabella, on the other hand, was already envisioning the moment when Sophia would endure public humiliation while she basked in the glory of her own fame. Returning to the comfortable space of her mansion, Isabella quickly made her way to the private bar, needing a cocktail to celebrate her perfect plan. As she poured herself a fresh glass, her mind drifted over every detail of the humiliation she was about to orchestrate. She picked up her phone and dialed a number. After a few seconds, a voice came on the other end. Paul? Isabella said without greeting. I need you to do something for me. I want you to find my maid address something truly dowdy. Make sure it's funny and out of fashion. There was a moment of silence on the other end, as though Paul, Isabella's personal assistant, was trying to process the odd request. Of course, Miss Isabella, Paul finally replied. Do you have any specific requests for color or style? Isabella smiled to herself. Surprise me, Paul. Just make sure it's something that will draw attention for its tastelessness. She hung up without waiting for a response. Paul would understand, he always did, and that's why he was invaluable to Isabella, capable of carrying out even the most peculiar tasks without question. With her plan perfectly orchestrated, Isabella drifted into dreams of the upcoming party. She envisioned Sophia entering with an awkward, lost look, dressed in the ridiculous outfit that would make her stand out and become the laughingstock of everyone present. Isabella could feel the astonished glances, the stifled giggles, and the whispered gossip over glasses of champagne, with herself at the center of it all. Like the director of this cruel comedy, she would be the talk of the town for weeks, even months. Do you remember when Isabella brought her maid to the party? They would whisper and laugh, admiring her boldness and ruthlessness. To Isabella, this was more than just a mean-spirited prank. It was a statement, a reminder to everyone of who she truly was: not merely a wealthy heiress, but someone capable of manipulation, control, and staging events to her will. Taking a sip of her cocktail, Isabella reflected on the path that had brought her here. Born into luxury, her parents had risen to the top of the business world through shrewdness and determination, but also through merciless ruthlessness. Every step her parents had taken on their road to success was marked by decisions many would consider immoral, instilling in Isabella the belief that cruelty was necessary for success. Years ago, Isabella's father had quietly stolen the idea of a promising entrepreneur and then presented it as his own, gaining the support of major investors. The original founder, a smart yet naive young man, could never prove her father's theft and eventually had to work at a small company, his dreams shattered. Next came a hostile takeover of a family business that had endured for 3 generations. Without hesitation, Isabella's father dissolved the company and sold off its assets, leaving dozens of loyal employees jobless. The family patriarch, who had painstakingly built the business from scratch, suffered a heart attack upon hearing the news and passed away shortly thereafter. After each victory, each $1 million accumulated, and each headline in business magazines, Isabella's father's ambition grew larger, convincing her that ruthlessness was the key to success. Now living in the prosperity her father had built, with an unspendable fortune for generations, she found life to be quite boring. The luxury items, the travel, all became dull, almost tasteless. More than anything, she could not stand Sophia's natural beauty. That was why she needed to plan a small act of cruelty, a sophisticated prank, and met a simple, kind-hearted girl like Sophia to remind herself and others that she still had the power to create chaos, simply for entertainment. As these thoughts swirled in her mind, Isabella turned back to the window. The sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, creating a breathtaking scene. Below in the garden, Sophia was still working diligently, unaware of the scheme Isabella had plotted for her. For a moment, a hint of hesitation arose in Isabella's mind. Was it really necessary? What would she gain from belittling someone as gentle and hardworking as Sophia? But that feeling quickly faded. I hate people who are more beautiful than me, she thought to herself, then looked ahead with determined eyes. Sophia always appeared obedient and compliant with Isabella, no matter how unreasonable her requests were or how much she would scold and belittle her. After 3 years of working here, Sophia had never once dared to ask for a day off, always doing her best and completing every task meticulously. But beneath that surface of endurance, resentment was quietly building up. Isabella lay in her room, dreaming about the upcoming party. It would be a wonderful opportunity to meet David, the one she had secretly admired for a long time. But her heart was always heavy with the reality that David was very aloof, seemingly never noticing her. Despite this, Isabella didn't give up. She knew David was not only handsome but also wealthy, coming from a prestigious family. His father was a successful businessman, well respected in high society. Isabella thought that if she could connect with David, she would be elevated to a new level in society. Moreover, David's father and her father often participated in charitable activities together, creating the opportunities that Isabella was always seeking. I must capture David's attention at this party, she told herself, her eyes sparkling with wicked schemes. Plans began to form in her mind. She would do anything to make her dreams come true, even if it meant trampling over others. Isabella had a valid reason to convince herself that everything was worth it as long as she got what she wanted. But little did she know that David despised her for being arrogant, scheming and haughty, treating everyone poorly while acting sweet and understanding in front of him. The night of the party arrived, the atmosphere radiant as sparkling lights illuminated the entire city. The hotel hosting the event was a magnificent building perched on a cliff overlooking the sea, transformed into a paradise of luxury. The entrance was dazzling, adorned with large bouquets of flowers, and a red carpet stretched out, guarded by security personnel in black suits. Luxury cars, from high-end SUVs to expensive supercars, glided past the hotel, creating a parade of famous faces. In the Rolls-Royce, Isabella adjusted the bow on her dress, her smile radiant. Beside her, Sophia sat nervously in the dazzling blue gown that Paul had chosen. "Remember, Sophia?" Isabella said in a sweet, feigned tone, her gaze sharp. "Tonight you are my special guest. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Just smile and nod." Sophia, gripping her knees tightly, nodded anxiously. "Thank you for this opportunity. I promise I won't let you down." Isabella had to stifle a laugh. Sophia didn't realize that to avoid disappointing her, all she needed to do was become the laughingstock of the party. Inside, Isabella had plotted a clever scheme to turn tonight into a spectacle of mockery, where she would be in control and Sophia would merely be a pawn in the cruel comedy she had meticulously orchestrated. The Rolls-Royce came to a stop at the entrance, and the attendant quickly opened the door. Isabella stepped out, greeting the photographers with a charming smile, instantly capturing their attention. She extended her hand to help Sophia out of the car, and as Sophia emerged, the camera flashes paused for a moment, as if they couldn't believe their eyes. But soon after, the cameras began to click furiously again. Overwhelmed and blinded by the lights, Sophia stumbled out, while Isabella held her hand to make her stand out even more. "Miss Isabella, who is your companion?" a reporter asked. Isabella smiled. "This is Sophia, my maid. It's delightful to have someone who really knows how to make things blossom." A ripple of giggles spread through the crowd, and all Sophia could do was smile awkwardly. Isabella led Sophia from table to table at the party, introducing her to her friends. "Hey everyone, this is Sophia, my maid," Isabella said with a smug expression. The guests smiled, but Sophia could feel the mocking glances fixed upon her. As the first group began discussing technology, Isabella stood silently, leaving Sophia to deal with the difficult questions. "Sophia, what do you think about blockchain?" a man asked, raising an eyebrow. I'm not sure," Sophia stammered. "I just know it's related to cryptocurrency." Laughter erupted around her. "Surprisingly, she only knows about cryptocurrency," a woman scoffed. "Maybe we should teach her how to use the internet first." Isabella giggled, proud of the attention she was generating. "That's right, Sophia. Show everyone what you can do with your phone." Sophia, confused and embarrassed, tried to laugh along, but her self-esteem felt trampled. She felt like a clown performing in a play she didn't want to be part of. "I only know how to text and make calls," she replied, her voice weak. "Well, we definitely need a lot more help from her," another person said, and the group laughed loudly again. Isabella just stood there, reveling in the moment, while Sophia felt trapped in a never-ending cycle of ridicule. Just then, David walked into the room, drawing everyone's attention. Isabella immediately changed her demeanor, flashing a fake smile and calling out, "David, you came at just the right time. I was just introducing everyone to Sophia, my maid." Sophia felt her heart race as David approached. Isabella continued, her tone insincere. "You know, Sophia doesn't understand anything about technology. Isn't that adorable?" But unexpectedly, David stopped and looked straight at Isabella with a serious expression. "Isabella, you shouldn't mock Sophia like that. Making fun of someone just because they don't know something doesn't make you any greater. No one should laugh at someone lesser than themselves for their amusement." The atmosphere grew silent. Isabella and the others seemed stunned by David's words. They couldn't believe he dared to stand up for Sophia, someone they had deemed a joke. Sophia felt a sudden pride swell within her as she looked into David's determined eyes. David continued, "Everyone should remember that each person has their own worth, and no one deserves to be mocked for their ignorance." David's words struck like a powerful slap, leaving Isabella speechless. Sophia smiled weakly, feeling a sense of protection she had never imagined she would receive. Isabella felt as if she had been doused with cold water, her jealousy surging when she saw David defending Sophia. She couldn't bear the thought of someone else receiving praise, especially someone she liked. Inside, Isabella was seething, but she tried to maintain her composure, forcing a sweet smile. "Oh yes, you're here to congratulate me, aren't you?" she said in a sugary tone, though her eyes blazed with anger. "I'm so glad. We should talk about that. It's really interesting to know that Sophia is here too. A party wouldn't be complete without her, right?" Isabella attempted to steer the conversation, wanting to draw David into topics she could control. She emphasized how interesting Sophia was, but deep down she just wanted to erase the unpleasant feeling. David looked at her, still serious. "Isabella, there are more important things for us to discuss," he said, his gaze remaining on Sophia. Isabella could only offer a weak smile, but inside, her jealousy and anger deepened. Isabella couldn't help but let out a dry laugh upon hearing David speak. "What could possibly be more important than my role as CEO right now?" She tried to mask her discomfort with sarcasm. Just then, Raphael, Isabella's father, appeared on stage looking proud. He announced, "Hello, everyone. I'm Raphael, and I'm thrilled to announce that my daughter Isabella has just been appointed the new CEO of Vertex Technologies, a company I built from the ground up over my lifetime." He smiled, his gaze sweeping over the crowd, his face radiating arrogance. "I hope you all enjoy tonight's party and have a memorable evening together." Mr. Raphael continued with feigned enthusiasm, Additionally, I want to mention a charity fund that I and David's father have established together. We hope everyone will donate generously to help the impoverished. This is a noble mission that we all need to contribute to." He paused, surveying the crowd with hopeful eyes, but deep down he knew that his words did not reflect the truth. Over the years he had secretly embezzled funds from generous donors, making himself rich and powerful. Isabella stood beside him, feeling proud of her father's statements, yet unable to shake the irony that it was her own father who exploited others' hardships to enrich himself. He then invited David, the handsome and wealthy son-in-law he had always dreamed of, to speak. David stepped onto the stage, his gaze sweeping across the auditorium, silencing the crowd. "Congratulations, Uncle Raphael and Isabella," he said in a formal tone, "but I have something to say. Together with my father and Uncle Raphael here, we have established a charity fund to help the impoverished. However, in recent years, I have received numerous reports indicating that a large sum of money from this fund has not reached them. I am currently conducting an investigation to clarify this issue." Mr. Raphael looked as if he had been struck in the heart, his expression changing momentarily before he quickly regained his composure. "It's cruel and ruthless to speak of this, David. I will assist you in this investigation," he said, trying to sound serious, though his eyes revealed his anxiety. The people around them began to murmur, the atmosphere growing tense, and Isabella felt a storm brewing in her heart as she witnessed the scene unfold. David continued, his voice firm and serious. "This charity fund also has a mysterious supporter known as the Anonymous Angel. This individual has donated millions of dollars to the fund over the years while keeping their identity secret. However, with the funds being stolen, the angel has decided to reveal themselves to punish the greedy and bring the truth to light." As David's words echoed in the air, all eyes turned towards Sophia. She slowly stepped onto the stage, her heart pounding in her chest as she faced the astonished crowd. "Sophia," David called out, "is the Anonymous Angel." Silence enveloped the auditorium, with incredulous looks directed at her. Isabella was stunned, unable to believe that her maid was the one who had so greatly supported the charity. Sophia felt the tension in the air, but she was also filled with determination. She took a deep breath, ready to expose the truth and demand justice for those who had been left behind. Sophia stepped onto the stage, her gaze resolute and her voice resonant, completely different from the image of a timid maid just moments before. "I have lived in the shadow of Isabella's maid not to serve, but to investigate the wrongdoings of Isabella and her father," she declared, each word clear and powerful. "After years of gathering evidence about the abuse of the charity, today I have decided to come forward." Sophia's words struck like a thunderclap, leaving Raphael and Isabella stunned, their faces pale. They were rendered speechless, unable to accept the reality before them. Their hearts raced and their legs trembled as they faced the person they had looked down upon, now transformed into a formidable adversary. The atmosphere in the auditorium grew heavy and all eyes were on them, waiting for their next reaction. Sophia took a deep breath, preparing for the battle she'd been fighting all this time. Sophia's gaze remained fixed on Raphael as she began to unveil a series of pieces of evidence. Images and audio recordings of his misconduct were projected onto the large screen, heightening the tension in the room. Seeing the undeniable proof, Raphael was left powerless, with no way to justify his actions. "I give you two choices," Sophia said, her voice sharp and confident. "One is to turn yourself into the police, and the other is that I will call 911 to report you right now." Under the pressure of the situation, Mr. Raphael bowed his head, his face ashen. I'm sorry to everyone," he stammered, his voice trembling. "I promise I will turn myself in." Although she did not directly participate in her father's wrongdoings, Isabella could not escape responsibility either. She was an accomplice, and her silence all this time had shown her complicity in those criminal acts. As the truth was revealed, both Raphael and Isabella had to face the consequences of their actions. The story ends with a profound lesson about cruelty and wickedness. The Isabella family, once in a high position in society, paid a steep price for their greed and misdeeds. They lost not only their reputation but were also thrust into legal trouble, where moral values had been forgotten. The main message of the story is that greed may bring short-term benefits, but in the end, the truth will always come to light, and justice will be served. Each individual has a responsibility to uphold the value of human dignity, not just for themselves but for those around them. Cherish honesty and kindness, for good things will always triumph in life. Cruelty harms not only others but also destroys the lives of those who perpetrate it. Live with sincerity and respect so that every action contributes to building a better world.